I'm Abe.
And I'm Frank. And today we're adumbrating the first half of Unit 5, States of Consciousness, in Meyer's Psychology for AP textbook.
Let's get started.
All right, Abe, start us off.
Let's do it. So, we're going to talk about what consciousness is. The book defines consciousness as our awareness of ourselves and our environment. Dual processing is an idea closely related to consciousness, and it involves both a conscious and unconscious awareness. A good example of dual processing is when you're riding a bike and you're conversing with a friend while you ride the bike. The conscious action is conversing with your friend, while the unconscious action is riding the bike.
So you're able to do two things at the same time.
Exactly, dual processing.
Pretty neat.
Let's move on to the main portion of this video, sleep. During sleep, our auditory cortex still responds to sound, and we continue to process information unconsciously. And we are especially sensitive to the sounds of crying babies or someone calling our name. So for example, if George's mom yelled at him, "George, come here," he might look like this.
Wow. That's pretty cool, Abe.
Exactly.
Nice animation skills. I think it's time to delve into something a little bit more complicated, though. The circadian rhythm. Now, this next section focuses on the body's two main cycles, the circadian rhythm and sleep stages. I'll talk about circadian rhythm and then Abe will cover sleep stages. The circadian rhythm is simple. It's essentially just the body's internal clock dictating when to be awake and when to be asleep. There are two key chemical pathways that synchronize the circadian rhythm on a day-to-day basis. The first one occurs in the morning, and it occurs when the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the hypothalamus is triggered by sunlight to decrease production of melatonin, a chemical that causes sleep. The second one occurs during nighttime, when the opposite happens, with a lack of light leading to increased melatonin secretion and therefore increased sleep. And now can you tell me about the body's other cycle, Abe?
Let's do it. Let's talk about sleep cycles. One sleep cycle lasts 90 minutes and there are 5 stages within it. REM stands for rapid eye movement sleep, and that's the part of sleep where vivid dreams occur. Your muscles are relaxed, but other parts of your body are active. A key vocab term here is alpha waves, and these are the brain waves in our brain when we're awake. One other important thing to note is why we yawn. While we yawn, our heart rate increases as we stretch our neck muscles and we become more alert.
Huh. Interesting.
So let's dive into the 5 different stages of sleep. In stage 1, it's very brief and we experience hallucinations, which are false sensory experiences. For example, when you're about to fall asleep, you might suddenly experience a sensation of falling. This has happened to me before.
Glad to hear it.
In stage 2, we experience sleep spindles, which are bouts of rapid brain activity, and we might also talk in our sleep. Sleep talking can occur in stage 2 or any later stage.
Abe does that all the time. Keeps me awake for hours.
Maybe. In stage 3, that's known as a transitional stage, and our brain emits delta waves, which are slow and large brain waves. Stage 4 is deep sleep, and we emit more delta waves. Note that it's hardest to wake someone up during stages 3 and 4.
Very interesting. Now I'm going to cover more about one particular thing that Abe touched on, which is REM sleep. Now, as you can see in the graph or the chart in this slide, REM sleep most resembles stage 1, and that's because it's a bit of an outlier to the neat stages that Abe just laid out. REM sleep is basically when you dream, and its characteristics include heightened heart rate, rapid eye movement, and it takes up to around 25% of your night's sleep. It's interesting. Although you rise from stage 4 to stage 1 during REM sleep, your heart rate also rises and your eyes move around. That's why, as Abe explained, it stands for rapid eye movement. And that's because you're dreaming and your body's responding to the dreams that you're experiencing or indeed hallucinating. But this brings us to another question, which is, why do we sleep? And there are a couple answers. The amount of sleep that you need varies a lot based off age and genetic makeup. When we're children, we sleep a lot more than when we're teenagers or adults. It's also influenced by culture and technology. As the book points out, After Thomas Alva Edison came along with the invention of the light bulb, people began to sleep a lot less since they were kept up all night by those pesky electric lights. But Abe, what's the effect of sleep loss?
Of course. Let's talk about the effects of sleep loss. So sleep loss can make you less productive, it makes you irritable, and it also makes you fatter. That's because sleep loss increases cortisol levels, and cortisol is a stress hormone. Sleep loss also increases the hunger-arousing hormone ghrelin and decreases its partner hormone, leptin, which is a hunger suppressor. Now, since sleep loss also suppresses immune cells, people who sleep 7 to 8 hours each night tend to outlive those who are chronically sleep deprived. It's also important to note that the Chernobyl disaster occurred after midnight, when the nuclear operators were likely very drowsy and less responsive. This highlights the slowed reaction time effect of sleep loss. Now, Frank, we just talked about all the effects of not sleeping, but why do we need to sleep in the first place?
Well, Abe, there are a few key reasons. The first is that humans have terrible night vision. I'm sure you've been out sometimes and it's been dark and you haven't been able to see things.
I haven't quite experienced that.
Well, I'm sure some of our viewers have. And in any case, sleeping is the body's genetic way of making you not move around as much as night, when humans are disadvantaged versus other predators who have better night visions, such as lions, tigers, and bears. Sleep also allows your body to heal and consolidate memories. In other words, sleep is kind of when your phone is turned off and it can save its battery and regenerate its juices. Third and finally, only during sleep does the pituitary gland release growth hormones. I don't really know why, and it's not really important to this chapter, but it's a good thing to know, as that's one of the only times that sleep is really differentiated at a chemical level from your day-to-day activities. Only during sleep can you really grow and those hormones be released. So Abe, now that we know that the body needs to sleep for evolutionary reasons, what can go wrong when it comes to sleeping normally?
Well, there are several different disorders. The first is insomnia, which is having persistent issues with falling or staying asleep. There are some quick fixes for insomnia, such as alcohol or sleeping pills, but both of these often make insomnia worse. They both reduce REM sleep, and when a person stops taking sleeping pills, their insomnia can often worsen to worse than it ever was before.
Yeesh.
There are some natural remedies, however, for sleeping better. Some of them are like exercise, avoiding caffeine after the early afternoon, maintaining a regular sleep schedule, hiding the clock so you don't anxiously check it while you're trying to fall asleep.
That's stupid.
Kind of, but it works.
Another sleep disorder is called narcolepsy, and that's characterized by falling asleep spontaneously. For example, in a game of baseball, you might have just hit a speedy grounder that zipped by the third baseman, but instead of running on base, you collapse to the ground in deep sleep and never make it.
Another sleeping disorder is called sleep apnea, and that's when you stop breathing temporarily during sleep and you wake up. And this can cause obesity. Sleep apnea deprives a person of slow-wave sleep and often causes them to wake up irritable and fatigued. But to treat it, you can use a device with a mask and an air pump to keep the sleeper's airway open. The fourth sleep disorder is called night terrors, and that's just a high arousal or an appearance of terror on your face, and it occurs mostly with children during the fourth stage of sleep. Now, Frank, what can you tell me about what we dream?
Well, there are a few interesting findings in the recent years. The first is that Freud, for the most part, is wrong when he talks about how dreams can be interpreted to solve our real-life problems. But before we go any farther, let's define the word dream. It's essentially a sequence of images, emotions, and thoughts processed by a sleeping person. And manifest content is the so-called storyline of your dream. So the content that's occurring in your dream, whether it's going to the grocery store to buy some milk, or making a YouTube channel about AP US history. In any case, there are a few interesting facts about dreams. The first is that we spend a lot of time while dreaming. Around 6 years of our life is spent in dreams. And, interestingly, some dreams can be so vivid that they can be confused with reality, the plot for the movie Inception. Other than that, however, and the fact that all dreams occur in REM sleep, there's not that much else to talk about here. I'd rather hear more about why we dream than what we dream. Can you tell me something about that, Abe?
Of course. There are several theories of why we dream. The first is to satisfy our own wishes.
Freud proposed that dreams help us release unacceptable feelings. The manifest content of each dream represents the remembered story, while the latent content represents the underlying meaning of a dream. Freud also believed that dreams can help us understand our internal conflicts.
Another theory of why we dream is to file away memories. While we dream, we sift and sort through our memories from the day, and we process information. Sleep and memory are also linked. The same parts of a rat's brain that buzz as they learn to navigate a maze buzz again during REM sleep. And many researchers also believe that if you don't sleep well after learning new things, they won't integrate properly into your memory. A third theory is that we sleep to develop and preserve neural pathways. Indeed, some researchers assert that dreaming stimulates the brain periodically. A fourth theory is to make sense of neural static. The activation synthesis theory asserts that neural activity originating from the brainstem and spreading upwards into the brain causes dreams. And the fifth theory is to reflect cognitive development. Children under 9 years of age have dreams which are more similar to slideshows than active stories. Dreams utilize our concepts and knowledge and thus increase in complexity with age. The fundamental basis of all these theories is that everyone agrees that REM sleep is vital.
A phenomenon called REM rebound can occur in humans, and it's pretty simple. Essentially, let's say Abe is taking a nap and he's in REM sleep, but I keep yelling his name and waking him up. Abe! That means he's not going to get as much REM sleep as he should be, but humans and other mammals are resilient. Next time Abe takes a nap, he will get to REM sleep faster than he would have before. Earlier we talked about the 90-minute sleep cycle, how you go from stage 1, 2, 3, 4 to REM sleep. But with REM rebound, you get to REM sleep faster if you've had less of it in the past. And this is very interesting. Most mammals can experience REM rebound, and that makes sense because the functions of REM sleep are biological. Fish don't experience REM sleep, and their behavior is less influenced by learning than compared to mammals. This fact supports the information processing theory of why dreams occur. Thank you for watching.
Please comment, like, and subscribe.
And as always, we'll catch you guys next time.